The Daytona 500 on Fox is brought to you by the Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac. Wider is better.
Welcome back to Daytona. Tony Stewart back there at 35th place with his teammate Bobby Labonte and Dale Jarrett. Johnny Benson just hanging out back. Well, moments ago through the trioval, Kurt Busch and Dale Earnhardt exchanged greetings.
See that?
As his crew looked on.
They've been looking at that for years. Oh yeah, they think the old man's cool. They think that's cool stuff to do.
Got to kick out Earnhardt's turn signal there. Dale has drifted back to about 5th place right now on the bottom through turn 2 as crews continue to confer amongst each other. If you pit by yourself, you come out without a drafting partner. So these deals are being made all up and down pit road in case we have green flag pit stops coming up in 10 laps or so.
And we're getting pretty close. The last time we were getting close, Rusty had a tire problem. So, I'd like to see them make some green flag stops. The problem's going to be with that, it'll shake the field up. They'll break the field apart when they make the green flag pit stops.
And I don't think there's any question. They'll be halfway here in about 6 laps. And if they pit right around lap 100, if it should stay green, that will let every team do it on one more stop. You want to go down there, you want to confirm, hey, what lap you coming in on? And are you going to change 4 tires? You aren't going to snook me, are you? You're going to change 4 tires, aren't you?
And that's why you go down there, because you got to look him in the eyes. You got to look at his face and be sure he's not snookering you, giving you one of those winks. Because these guys will set you up, man. I know. I've been down there.
Pit stops will begin, we're told, in about 5 laps. Let's have a look at our Visa race summary. At 95 laps, 9 different leaders, 20 lead changes. Average speed under green, 184.4 miles per hour, and 38 of the 43 starters are still on the lead lap. Only one caution when Jeff Purvis popped the wall in turn 4 at lap 48. Ken Squire.
Kyle Petty is on the move. He's picked up 7 positions in the last 10 laps. Consider this, that Kyle Petty is currently running in the 28th position, and that's less than 3 seconds from the leader as we get to halfway in that car number 45.
Robert Presley and Brett Bodine alongside.
Right here just before pit stop, look at all that action going on. I mean, we're talking just a few laps from making a pit stop, and look how they're moving around.
New leader, Mike Skinner.
Skinner jumped out there.
Here comes Earnhardt though in the 3 car, pulling Schrader on the outside, going for the 3rd position. Not only do we have 38 cars on the lead lap, we got 38 cars in the lead pack.
What happens here now, the tires are pretty well used up. And so some of the cars that have been kind of hanging back, sometimes your car will run real good on used up tires, old tires, worn out tires, and you can make some moves to the front. Then other guys are just hanging on.
Jeff Gordon there in that 24 car running inside, making it 3 wide. And people, you'll hear us say 3 wide, 3 wide. What's bad about 3 wide? Yeah, the racetrack's wide enough for 3 cars, even 4. But the way these cars move around, look at Hornaday pushing Jeff Gordon there up the backstretch. There's not room for error when you're running 3 wide.
And so far, so good. We've been 3 wide like those guys are.
Kurt Busch on the outside, Ricky Craven in the middle. The yellow car is Steve Park on the inside.
And the 32 car, Ricky Craven, who is having a great week down here. Qualified well, run well in this qualifying race. Good to see Ricky back in the hunt.
That's his teammate, the 96 car, Andy Houston. Both of them drive for Cal Wells, so they're starting to try to hook up together, possibly looking toward this green flag stop here in just a few laps.
It'd be interesting to see, Larry. You think, just guessing, and that's all we'd be doing. Anybody going to take 2?
I don't want to be driving if they're going to take 2 tires, and I know you don't.
I don't want to be the crew chief if he tells me he's going to take 2. Not like my car.
Be like Earnhardt said, I ain't leaving till you give me 4.
That's right.
Michael Waltrip, 15. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8. Those are also team cars. Dale Earnhardt owns those, and Steve Park's team.
Well, I'm glad Michael finally got up there where we could talk about him a little bit, because he has been kind of hanging back in the back. But as we run down to the end of this run, get ready for pit stops, his car looks like it's really working pretty good for him right now. Michael loves Daytona, and he always runs up front here.
Michael Waltrip up to 9th spot, Darrell's younger brother. Jeff?
Darrell, I just wanted to let you know that when I was talking talked to Michael early this morning. He told me he was going to take a little bit from you and a little bit from Earnhardt and try to mix them together to make the day's run. He said, I'm going to lay back for a little bit, get a feel for my car, tune on at the first stop, and I'm going to the front.
He's very confident.
Earnhardt to pit.
And Sterling with him.
Hornaday with him as well.
Here comes Hornaday.
Halfway this time by.
5 cars are on the pit lane under green. Jason Leffler is coming in with them, and so is Stacy Compton. Jeannie?
Well, Ron Hornaday will indeed take 4 tires, and the impressive part here, how'd you like to be doing all this stuff, the splash of fuel, clean the windshield, with A.J. Foyt looking on? Dick?
Earnhardt will take 4 tires. Car owner Richard Childress is the guy who has made the call. That is all the adjustment you're going to see on the hood. One of the crew members just nailed it to Steve.
Sterling Marlin's going to get 4 tires, Dick. They also took a tearaway off the windshield. They talked about making a wedge adjustment. 14 is out. 3's out. Sterling Marlin's out as well.
It'll take them a while to get drafted back up, and the field comes off turn number 4. And here is another group coming onto pit road led by Mike Skinner. Ken Schrader is coming in. There are this time more than a dozen cars in the pit lane. Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, Steve Park, Ricky Rudd, all making this pit stop. Kenny Wallace, Mike Wallace, both Bill Elliott and his teammate Casey Atwood, Dave Blaney, John Andretti, Kyle Petty, and Robbie Gordon are all in the pits. Steve?
And Mike Skinner's in. They take a tear off the windshield as well. 4 tires. They do make a chassis adjustment to the right rear corner of the number 31. Left side tires now going on. Looks like a good stop for Mike Skinner. Let's go to Dick Bergeron.
Bill Elliott, the pole sitter down on pit road. This crew is basically the same crew he worked with last year before he changed brands. He's out of here after a 4-tire change.
Wow, this will jumble up the field. Ward Burton continues to lead. Jeff Burton, his brother, one's in a Dodge, one's in a Ford, and here they come to pit road. The Burton brothers lead this charge in. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jerry Nadeau, Mark Martin, Ricky Craven, Andy Houston, Jeremy Mayfield, Matt Kenseth, and 8 more in the pits. Matt?
The 22 is in his pit. He said his car was just a tick tight. His car was much better when out in front. The 99's also in a 4-tire stop for both cars. They're going to adjust the 22 slightly with air pressure and air pressure adjustment on the 99. He's down and away. He beats the 22 off pit road.
Bobby Labonte is also in, so is Dale Jarrett. Dick?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. on pit road. They let the rear tire get away from them. It's lying out there on pit road there. A crew member finally goes and grabs it. Whoa, it almost rolled across pit road. They were lucky to grab that thing before it fell over.
Green flag stops continue. Rusty Wallace comes in and brings Michael Waltrip with him. Buckshot Jones, Casey Atwood is coming back in for a second stop. And Jimmy Spencer.
And I'm not sure if that is Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s tire, that NASCAR will not bring him back in for a penalty, because if your tire rolls across center line of pit road, it is a penalty.
That was some of the wildest pit stop action I believe I've ever seen. Cars were everywhere, and we don't get to make that many green flag stops, Larry. Most times we'll drag them under caution.
Well, I talked about it earlier. What I like is that first group that pitted, there were 5 cars on pit road. It was total melee the next 2 times that cars was on pit road.
Trouble, though, for Casey Atwood. He came back in to top off the tank and I think take a piece of tape from the grill. Going to be a penalty on Ron Hornaday for speeding down pit road. He'll come in to serve that penalty now.
I always ask my crew chief, Larry, will you work with the team around us so there's nobody in my way when I come in, so I can get in and out? Hornaday stalled the engine on the exit a while ago, and it frustrated him so much that he sped down pit road.
Robert Presley out as well, and there's 4-time Indy winner and 72 Daytona 500 winner A.J. Foyt, who owns Hornaday's car.
What happens to a driver, guys, is when he's been out there driving, and he's got his right foot pegged, when he comes in, the clutch foot don't work so well.
Jeff Gordon assumes the lead. Earnhardt chomping on his back bumper, cuts to the inside. And Skinner will lead this lap from Earnhardt by about a foot. That's the way it's been all day.
Well, that's a car we hadn't talked about much. The yellow car there behind Earnhardt, he drives for Dale Earnhardt. That's Steve Park in the yellow number 1. He's finally made his way up to the front.
Well, Kyle Petty is back on pit road. Made a stop a couple of laps ago. Now comes back in for a penalty stop, and now Kyle is away.
You know what? You